Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Friday, April 11th, 2025, and I've got an update for you today. I received an email response from Banxa regarding my inquiry that I sent out a few days ago to get confirmation on this Banxa integration. We already know it's real, even though there's been no official announcement. We've seen announcements that Banxa has purchased a large amount of Pi. This is obviously to fund their ability to fulfill fiat transactions for Pi, but there was nothing official. So I had reached out to them asking if they could confirm that this integration was legit. And I did get a response, and I want to share that with you now. It reads, "Dear David, thank you for reaching out and for your patience. We can confirm that the integration between Banxa and the Pi network is legitimate, as confirmed by our integrations team. We understand the confusion this has caused, and we appreciate your understanding as our relevant team continues to work on this matter." So there you have it, folks. Official confirmation from Banxa that it's real. We already knew this, but the lack of communication continues. As I suspected, Banxa did respond. As I mentioned yesterday also, I've rolled out a new FAQ, and you can find that in the description of this video and every video moving forward, as well as the pinned comment, which is at the top of the comment section. This is a live document. As I find new questions that get repeatedly asked, I will update this document. If I get new information about any of the topics already in the FAQ, I will update it as well. Even if you've read the FAQ before, periodically check on it to see if there's any new information. Looking at the metrics, the circulating supply is at 6.86 million, which is up around 9.8 million migrated Pi in the last 24 hours. That's promising. There is 45 million Pi in the Pi Foundation's migration wallet. So there's definitely a lot more room for improvement there. The migrated unlocked rewards is at 1.74 billion, which is up 2.7 million since this time 24 hours ago, meaning that 2.7 million more Pi is free to be traded on the open markets. Looking at the price action, the current price of Pi coin is 60 cents, which is up 1.2% from this time yesterday. It's good to see. I like this. The market cap is at 4.16 billion, up 1.37% from this time 24 hours ago. And the volume is at $160.76 million, which is down 43% from this same time 24 hours ago. I said this before. Beware when the volume is low. This is when exchanges will play games to manipulate the volume, which will have an impact on the price. If you're currently trading Pi on the market, be very careful. Make sure you watch carefully what's happening so that you can get out if things look bad. I'm going to talk about Unverified Pi today, but before I do that, I want to talk about something that I think you guys would be interested in, and then address a few user comments. Look at this image. It shows the price action in a condensed chart for crypto, including Pi. If you look at this, the information enclosed in the red rectangle shows the price action. It's a very condensed version, and I like this because it hides a lot of the smaller details. What stands out here is the fact that these charts look almost identical, and there's a good reason for that. This is what speculation looks like. All of these crypto and the traders that trade them back and forth are all influenced by the same factors. Everybody in here is in this to speculate on whether it'll go up, whether it'll go down. When external factors influence what they think, this is what you get. The fact that they're all the same or look very close to the same means that they're all responding to the same information in the same way. And this is your proof that this is all speculation. A true hedge against economic pressures would show a trend that is vastly different than all of the others. Now, I don't have a stable coin on here, but if I were to put a stable coin up against these, you'd see a relatively straight line. That's what stability looks like. What we see here is volatility. So I just wanted to show you that. Obviously, the Pi coin is not yet as stable as we want it to be. We know this because it's being traded on the open market right now. There's no price protections in place, and it's going to be driven by the same exact motivations that drive the price action for every other stock. Looking at some of the user comments, this user says, "Hi, Dave. There's some news floating around that Pi are creating a stable coin on Stellar valued at $314,159 US per Pi. He checked this with ChatGPT and it seems to be legitimate. This is really exciting news." I would agree with you if this were true. While this is factually correct and this information is out there, it is not exactly new. A little while back, I did a video titled "Were We Wrong?" And it addresses this, what I call ridiculous notion that the global consensus value of 314,159 Pi is achievable. Now, it is absolutely not achievable in a traditional sense, trading on the open market. If you extrapolate even a fraction of the total of 100 billion possible Pi tokens out there, you would easily dwarf the gross domestic product of most countries combined. In my video, I talked about how price pegging could allow you to set up a price such as this and how it would work. And I believe the news that you're referring to here is all stemming from a leaked smart contract that showed this value as its pegged target. Now, price pegging is a thing. It's how stablecoins work. However, I do not know how that can work with the Pi coin because there's a large amount of Pi coin already trading on the open market and more enters every day. The time to set up price controls in the form of price pegging is before it hits the market. You put your controls in place and you negotiate with the exchanges to list it at your pegged price. And then your smart contracts execute your pegging algorithm to keep the price stable. And that would involve burning or minting coin as needed to maintain the price. The Pi Core team has not announced any mechanism for minting new coin because they've already set the cap at 100 billion. More importantly, they have not indicated any burning mechanism, which would be needed to control the price. And if you had a burning mechanism, then minting becomes an option because then you're still within your 100 billion cap. To be honest with you, GCV is a pipe dream. True, in a closed system, you could set any price you want, but there's no such thing as US dollars in a closed system. In the real world, things cost real money. Wages, materials, distribution, advertising, transportation, all of that costs real money. You can't just manufacture buying power. I know that the Pi Core team envisions a stable value for the Pi coin. I just don't know how they're going to achieve it. Now, if this is based on something else, let me know because I'd be interested to see what that's all about. I think it's old news that's just kind of resurfacing again. And if it is, I've already addressed it. Check out that video. Thanks for the comment. And this user says that he thinks there's a way to get around the waiting period for 2FA or two-factor authentication approval. Normally, the way this works is you have a pop-up that shows up at the beginning of a mining session. You don't know which one it's going to be. It's whenever it gets to you. And a lot of people are confused by that because they know they need to do 2FA in order to migrate, but nothing's happening, so they're not migrating. And as people do, they panic. So this user says that if you go to step 3 to verify your wallet and then enter your passphrase, it may show you the email address associated with the wallet and provide instructions for how to verify it. This isn't how it looks on my wallet because I did receive the pop-up and I went through that process and my email is verified. If you're waiting for two-factor authentication, give this a shot. It might work. Thanks for the comment. Let's talk about Unverified Pi. This is a topic that, besides KYC and migration itself, is the biggest issue that people have with the Pi network right now. Now, I mentioned this in my FAQ, but I'm going to talk about it here and why I think this may be much less of an issue than most people think. I've heard from many people that they are certain that a good portion, if not all, of their referral team has been KYC'd and migrated, yet the unverified Pi coin remains unchanged. What people have also noticed is that only the base mining rate is actually transferred to your transferable balance. All mining bonuses, including node bonuses and lockups, which are not tied to KYC or migration at all, go to the unverified. What's going on here? Think about recent events. Migrations got pulled back and transferable balances were zeroed out and moved to unverified. People freaked out, and rightly so. There was no communication from the Pi core team, and not only were migrations pulled out, people's transferable balances were set to zero. A short while later, they were returned, and in some cases, the transferable balance was greater than it was previously, and in some cases, it was lower. And this is due to a recalculation of the transferable balances from the unverified pool. People have also reported that migrations greater than their last recollection of the transferable balance was migrated. Where did this extra Pi come from? Obviously, it came from the unverified balance. It seems apparent that either migrations can come from both balances, the unverified and transferable, or the verified coin in the unverified balance is moved to the transferable balances immediately before migration, and it's just not noticed. Why do this? If it's verified, move it to the transferable balances, right? That would seem like an obvious solution. I have a theory about why they don't do this, and maybe if you hear it, it'll make sense to you. Most of your unverified balance is from your referral team and security circle. Verification of unverified Pi requires both KYC and migration. If either of these is not completed, then your Pi from these contributors is unverified. The unverified Pi pool is in a state of constant recalculation. And if they were to move unverified Pi into your transferable balance, and then the recalculation were to change that in some way, then they may potentially have to pull back unverified Pi that was moved to your transferable balances. And as we already know from previous examples where people's transferable balances were modified, they freaked out. Keeping it unverified hides all of this. Yes, people are unhappy because they want to see it move, but that could cause bigger problems if it keeps moving back and forth and people's transferable balances keep changing. Now, the Pi core team could mitigate this with better communication, but we know that's not their strong point. A better UI design could also make this easier to understand, but would also complicate the app design. I know that their goal is to keep the app as simple as possible. We should keep an eye on this, okay? It's possible that when people actually get around to getting migrated, the amount that gets migrated is not what's reflected in the transferable balances at all. And that you will see significantly higher migrations because of verified Pi sitting in your unverified balance. I don't know for a fact that this is true. I'm just piecing all of this together from all of the anecdotal evidence that I've received from users and I've observed myself. We're just going to have to adopt a wait and see attitude on this. Well, that's all I have for today. If anything pops up during the day, I will, of course, jump back on here and let you all know. But until then, don't panic, stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.